Are you enjoying the last 2 days of summer?
Well, I'm leaving to Japan rainy season.
Oh, yeah. But still hot. Hot and rainy. Hot and
Hot
wet.
and rainy, and then winter in Brisbane, which I think is about 22 degrees.
Hot. Wet. That was that Spod lyric, wasn't it? Anyway,
Yeah.
I digress. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Tell Me Where I'm Going Wrong, a weekly podcast hosted by two exes who are good friends and talk about lots of different topics, which we'll get into. My name is Josh. I am one of the hosts, and the other host is Sean. How are you today, Sean?
I'm good. I'm trying to break the tension of this heat with this Kylie Minogue fan. I mean, you might not get that joke, but for all the Kylie fans out there, Tension was the name of her album.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a song called Tension, and she says, break the tension.
Mm-hmm.
And this is from when Kylie performed, headlined in Hyde Park in July 2024.
Were you there?
No, I didn't go, but Luis went, like a friend of his who was visiting from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
He went and he brought this for
He
me.
didn't want to take it back to Mexico, or he got one for himself?
He bought it as a gift for me.
Oh, that's nice.
Because I think he knows that I'm somewhat interested in Kylie Minogue,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a camp thing. I mean, it was probably super expensive, right? If they were selling these at a Hyde Park concert.
Yeah, at a Kylie concert, it'd be about £20, if not more.
Yeah, probably more, right?
Yeah.
But I just keep it here on the desk for when I get the vapors.
Well, I'm destroying. Well, actually, no. I was going to say I'm destroying the environment because I've got an electric fan on, but I buy my electricity from Ecotricity, so it's all renewable, non-nuclear renewable sources. So I don't feel too bad.
Well, I think that there are lots of other things going on the planet that hold more responsibility than your personal consumer choices.
That's
But
true.
I don't know if we want to get into that.
might be too hip for the road. But before we get started, I just want to say, honor the memory of Walter the Chihuahua. So last week, Walter sort of appeared in the episode somewhat, although I think the AI, or whatever it is, the image, the fake background thing, I think that maybe filtered him out. But he has appeared on the podcast before. Sadly, the following day he died. So I'll miss little Walter the Chihuahua. He was
poor Walter. The last ever on screen appearance was thwarted by green screen.
But I know. Even his little yelps were filtered out by the audio mix. So I'll post a picture in the episode of Walter. But he was 18 years old, which is like 110 in human years, I think. So his time was up, but he was a sweet dog. So yeah, in memory of Walter. Thank
you, Walter, for all your efforts in disturbing the recordings of our
disrupting
podcast.
our recording. Yeah.
It was a beloved and disruptive Chihuahua.
Yes. I just saw some very heartening news, though, to sway things in the other direction. I saw some great news that in Durham, in the northeast of England, Reform took control of the local council last year, and they took the pride flag down from the town hall, and they also cut all the funding to Durham Pride. And so, in a sort of poetic reversal, the local miners funded the Durham Pride, and it took place. And Durham was one of the centers of the miners' strikes in the 1980s. And obviously, if you've seen the film Pride, you'll know that the queers in London, well, not just London, but particularly in London, fundraised and supported and showed up for the miners who were striking against the government, and they returned the favor, which I thought was really lovely, and a big fuck you to Reform.
Do you know that? You probably know this, but you might have forgotten that band that we've both been getting into recently, Fortitude Valley, are based in Durham.
Oh, I had forgotten that. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's another little tie-in to things we've discussed on the show
I
before.
think I think they're playing in London this summer, opening for
Really?
someone. Yeah, I'll have to go and check that, but
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't see that. What gigs are coming up that you've got tickets for?
Well, I'm going, is it 2 weeks' time? I think 2 weeks' time. No, that can't be right, can it? No, maybe 3 weeks' time. 2 weeks' time, I think I'll be in Spain, but in 3 weeks' time, I'm going to see Garbage and Skunk and Nancy are opening, so I'm
Oh.
very excited about that. I've never seen either of them before, and I think they're great. So I'm excited to go and see them. I'm seeing, so I'm sure I've talked about it on the podcast. If I haven't, I can't believe I haven't, but I'm obsessed, like completely obsessed with this band from Australia called Teen Jesus and the Gene Teasers.
Mhm.
And they're
They're from Canberra.
from Canberra. I know, right? Even stranger. And I've been listening to I've been listening to their older stuff as well, but their new album I've been listening to just on repeat. Like I must have listened to it about 100 times. Anyway, I'm seeing them in, I think it's August, maybe. Um, what about you? What have you got coming up gig wise?
Uh, I don't think I've got anything, but I wouldn't mind seeing, um,
Teen Jesus,
Teen Jesus. Uh,
TJJT.
yeah, I would like to see them, but I don't know. I don't think I've got any gigs coming up apart from seeing vegan Kylie Minogue impersonator at my vegan beer
Oh
fest in
yeah, yeah.
September.
I'm going to
That's
see her. She's doing a show at the Cox
yeah.
in July, so I'm going to go and see her then.
But
Um,
talking about, just a couple of shout outs to Canberrians. Um, I was at Unity Diner today, and Greg, the chef, is from Canberra.
oh right,
So
okay.
hello to Greg. He's a vegan chef at a vegan restaurant in London. And also a shout out to Tony Hamlin, a friend of mine from Australia from many, many years ago. We used to be Take That fans together. That's how we met. And he just messaged me to, he's from Canberra as well. He just
Oh,
mess
is he? I thought he was
yeah.
from Sydney. Okay.
He just messaged to say that he's coming to London and can we catch up? But I'll be in Australia
Okay.
when that happens. But talking about music and bands, what do you know about this new Madonna record that's about to come out? Have you heard any of the singles that have come out?
Yeah, only that Feel So Free. That's the only one. Is the album out now?
No, the album's not out. What did you think of Feel So Free?
I thought it was all right. I mean, I I wouldn't intentionally put it on, but if it came on, I mean, I was out last Sunday uh, in the club, and they played it, and I danced. Like it's not terrible, but there are better Madonna songs.
And have you heard the song she does with Sabrina Carpenter?
Yeah, I wouldn't choose to listen to that at
And
all.
you wouldn't even dance to that in the club.
No, I wouldn't. There's a really good mashup though of "Feel So Free" and "Into the Groove,"
Oh,
which I
okay.
quite like. You know me, I love a mashup. Um, so yeah, what are there other songs you can listen to from the new album?
I don't think so. There's been a remix of I Feel So Free.
I'm sure my friend
Um,
today was like, "I've been listening to the new Madonna album." I was like, "Oh,
maybe they just mean they've been listening to the two songs.
okay,
I don't think it's out till July or something.
really?"
But have you seen like some of the promotion that she's been doing to um like she's partnered, they must be paying a lot of money to Grinder. I mean, for anybody who doesn't know, Grinder is an app that connects mostly gay men with other gay men for
Or men who have
sex,
sex with men.
yeah, sex and friendship and community, and but other people use it as well. But primarily it is promoted and marketed to, yeah, like men who have sex with other men. And Madonna has done a marketing deal with Grindr where they're using her platform in all different ways to promote her upcoming record. What do you know about it, Siv?
Well, I know about this in detail because I had to get my iPhone repaired a few weeks ago, and I was in the Apple store in Kingston, and my phone is almost always set to silent, and so my
Mhm.
phone was set to silent, and I was waiting for my appointment at the Genius Bar, whatever bullshit it is that they call it. Um, And I was like, well, I'll just check Grinder. So I'm in this fairly quiet, it was a Friday afternoon, about 4 o'clock. So it wasn't particularly busy, in the middle of the Apple store. And I opened Grinder, and then really loud, even though it completely overrode my phone settings, really loud, it was Madonna going, "Hi, Grinder." And like, oh, not everybody, but at least about 5 or 6 people around me like looked at me, and I was like, oh my God, how embarrassing. I was like,
And
what an infringement on my like privacy that fucking Madonna's like overriding my phone settings and outing me to the Apple store.
does she say something like it's mother or something? Like, is that what she said?
I heard that. I mean, I quickly shut it. But yeah, I've heard that on other
Like,
occasions. It's just like,
so I've seen backgrounds where I don't know if it's Grinder or another app where when you go into the message setting, all of the background is pictures of Madonna, whether you want it to be or not.
oh, really?
Um, like she did got interviewed by like queer personalities like Bob the Drag Queen and some other people for Grinder, and so they're like promoting that. They've posted on YouTube. I think it's on Grinder. I mean, there's a lot of content coming out around it, and I I wonder how they work out how that's going to pay off or not. Like, who's going to buy or stream that album because Madonna's in Grinder? Do you think it'll work?
Probably. I mean, yeah, I think it's cementing that relationship that she has with the queer community, which has existed for decades. But I suppose it's just putting her back on the map within that community. Although, I mean, there'll be young people like, and when I say young, I mean people younger than 30. There'll be people under 30 who'll be like, who the fuck is that? Like, yes, they probably being in the queer community would know of Madonna, but there are young people who just don't really know Madonna songs. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I
but
think I think even if they don't know the songs, they'll know that Madonna exists and that she was a pop culture icon. But they might not
hmm,
be able to name 10 songs by Madonna,
no,
or 5
no,
songs by Madonna.
no.
And like, how much money do you think her record company would have to pay to do something like this, like a Grinder takeover? Like,
I have
that's
no
got to
idea.
cost tens of thousands, if not more, right? Like,
I have no idea. No idea at all. Um,
and
in some way,
also,
in some ways, like, I have no idea.
like she's doing all of this stuff to like be, in the news cycle. So all of this marketing and this promo, and it's so different to what she would have had to have done in years gone by because the media landscape is so fractured, and
Mm,
she has to reach all of these different groups and demographics of people who all get their media and news and pop culture insights from different platforms. So she has to go to Grinder to get some of the gays.
mm-hmm.
She was on this live stream. Do you know about live streaming? Are you too old to
No.
not understand what live
Well, but
streaming is?
maybe I do, but yeah, explain it to me and I'll tell you if I know what you're talking
Okay,
about.
so it's broadcasting on the internet, usually on a dedicated platform. So, for instance, we're using Riverside to record this, but there are other platforms that specialize in live streams, like so people filming and the content is out synchronously, asynchronously. What do you call it? Like
Synchronously,
synchronously.
yeah.
And one of them is called Twitch. And so there are people who stream on these platforms and they have so many followers. Like some of them have like 30 million viewers.
But are they
Like
streaming specific content
a
or
lot of it is just them sitting there talking. Like imagine this, but for 8 hours straight. Like you think you get bored in 45 minutes of listening to us crap on? Like imagine there are these
I
people
just don't
or
understand.
people walk around like there's that really famous guy called Speed, I Show Speed, I think his name is, and he's like the most famous streamer on the planet. He is not famous to our generation, but anyone under 30 100% knows who he is. He has tens of millions of followers, and he makes tens of, like, I think something like $5 million a month or something from streaming, because they can monetize streaming. So anyway, there's this one guy, like, it's a very, very weird, to me, very abstract sounding construct, like streaming, people watch it, you make money. But there's this one guy called Gymskin from
Oh,
Essex.
I just saw a video. Yeah, I just saw it literally like 10 minutes before we started recording. I was just on Instagram, and this video came up of him and Madonna.
Yeah. And so Madonna is trying to, and I'm not throwing shade at her at her for any Madonna fans watching this. I'm just commenting, like, for me, who's someone who's grown up through all different eras of Madonna and all different eras of media, it is so bizarre to see someone of Madonna's stature and pop culture legacy dancing on a live stream. Like, this isn't pre-recorded, or this isn't an interview where she sat down and chatted to someone. She has to sit in front of a camera and it's live, and just, there's no script, there's no talking, she's just there. And so this guy, Jim, one of the things he became really famous for last year was walking down the street and dancing and live streaming it, just walking and doing like this move with his shoulders. And one of the songs that he did it to was Into the Groove. And it actually sent Into the Groove back into the global charts because it became so viral. And all of these young people who had never heard it before or really knew about Madonna started to stream Into the Groove, and it got back into the charts. And so he like sort of catapulted into this level of fame as a streamer where he makes between 25,000 and 100,000 pounds a month from just doing live streaming, up to 7 or 8 hours a day. And so Madonna's management said, hey, you've got to go and do this live stream with this guy. Do you think that's like, I mean, you can't speak for her, but what do you think? Would that be like embarrassing, difficult, or what?
I mean, I've got thoughts, but I'm a bit cautious about saying them because I don't know if my thoughts are necessarily unkind, but they're critical, and I don't want them to be construed as ageism or sexism.
Yeah.
But for me, it was very cringe.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing Madonna, who's
7 or something.
I know we've had this discussion on the
I think she'll
podcast
be
before.
I think she'll be 68 this year in August.
Yeah, well, she was born in 58. Anyway, so a woman in her late 60s, who's obviously
maybe just say a person in their late 60s.
Yeah.
To
okay.
to take away
take the gender out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a person in their late 60s who's obviously had a lot of surgery, as has, I believe, I mean, I don't want to say anything, libelous, but I believe that Gymskin may have had a bit of surgery too, judging by...
Gymskin?
Is that his name?
Yeah, but why do you think Gymskin?
Well, I don't know. Anyway, well, I don't want to say anything libelous, but his face looked like it had a bit of work, a few tweakments perhaps.
Right.
And again, not shaming anyone for that, but it was just the most bizarre thing. And then Madonna's there doing sort of like this very
bad,
bad or just very disjointed dance move.
Yeah.
And Gymskin's singing Into the Groove, but he's singing like the wrong lyrics and stuff like that. And Madonna's just like got, no expression on her face at all, like obviously from Botox or whatnot. And it was just, I don't know what purpose this is going to serve.
Well, it's to try and make connections with audiences, because this is one of the notes I wrote down about this. I mean, to start with, when she had enough, because there's no end to a live stream. It's not like we're going to go for 20 minutes or I'm going to ask you 10 questions. So at one point, Madonna just said, okay, bye, turned her back on him and walked away. Like, there was she was just like, I've had enough of this. She's Madonna, she's still, I don't want to be in this situation anymore.
But the other thing is, and again, I don't want this to sound like we're sort of ageist, but she's got this like very young looking face, like very fake young looking face, but she moves like somebody in their late 60s moves.
Yeah.
And so it's just, it looks very peculiar and very
Yeah.
cringe to me. I mean, you could look at it through another lens and be like, fucking right on for
Yeah.
um, showing that somebody can have fun and dance and groove, whatever age they are, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you could say that. But my take on it was just a very uncomfortable, manufactured moment that lacked any real sort of authenticity and just was
Well,
clearly a publicity
yeah,
thing.
but I mean, it got me thinking a lot about, like the grinder thing, the Gymskin thing. I mean, there's all other sorts of stuff where she's trying to reach out any way she can, all these different ways. And how this would have happened prior to this sort of fractured media landscape, there would have been just about 3 or 4 ways to get the news out. You would have gone on a TV show to be interviewed. You would have done something like Top of the Pops.
Mhm.
You would have been on the radio, and there might be stuff in magazines and newspapers, like music magazines, and she would have been on the cover of Rolling Stone saying she had a new album, right? So those 4 or 5 ways of getting information out have now turned into like 100,000 ways to do it.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so instead of being on the front of a newspaper and getting that makes 20,000 people buy the record, she has to do this live stream where maybe 100 people buy it. And then she has to do Grinder where maybe 10,000 people will buy it. And then she has to do, it's just it feels so exhausting as a
Mm.
concept to
And then,
spread
of
yourself that
course,
thin.
when you say buy it, no one's actually buying the
No,
album. So it's all just streamed anyway.
I'm,
I mean, it's
I,
such a weird world we live in.
I'm listening to a podcast called Hit That Perfect Beat, the
Oh,
story of
yeah.
London
London Records.
Records. Have you listened to it?
Only one episode, just the one that Siobhan and Marcy from Shakespeare's Sister were in.
Oh, that's the second episode? Yeah, well, Siobhan's also in the first episode as well.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah, and how they talk in that episode about when a record needed a little bit of a push or it was
Mhm.
sitting at number 41 and they needed it to get in the top 40. The team and the staff from the record label would drive out into the countryside or catch the train to different cities and go into shops and buy copies of the record
Yep.
so it would go up into the chart. And I mean, so
I did it in the 90s. I did it for a band whose name I won't mention, but like I
yeah.
did it, their management company gave me and my friend money to go and buy their records from not out of London, like at HMV or Virgin on Oxford Street.
But how
Um,
many copies did you have to buy?
I don't know, like 5 or something. I mean, it wasn't a lot, but yeah,
And did they quit?
I knew that it existed.
Yeah, but like they're talking in that London record story about how you would get on the radio, and if you could get on the radio or get on like Top of the Pops, the record, if it was a good record that connected with people, it would take off because there was no other way to find out about music.
And
But
there was
now,
just much less music being released
yeah,
anyway, so
yeah,
the
and
odds were
now
much
you've
greater.
got sort of like it seems the most important way to get a record to uh, get a lot of traction and to shift units, whether that's streaming or selling, is to go viral on a social media platform like TikTok. So that Lady Gaga song, Bloody Mary, some fan made a supercut of it sped up and set it to scenes from Wednesday.
Oh,
And
really?
it, so was it last year or the year before? It went back into the top 40 all around the world. And so Lady Gaga and her record company had to release it as the 5th single from Born This Way, like 10 years after it first came out. And went back into the charts. Like, I think it got in the top 20 in the UK. And it was all because a fan made a viral. They don't even know. I don't even think Gaga knows who made it. And so some of these things must feel so out of your control as an artist now. There are
Mm.
no traditional routes that people used to go down to sell records and to get attention. And Madonna is finding that out in actual real time on live streams with Gymskin or on Grinder chats. And, she's built her career 40 years or more where she's, created a world in which she controls, and
Mm.
now she has to go and do things like, you know, I mean, I won't be surprised if you see her on that Hot Wings eating like chicken wings with hot sauce
Oh,
soon,
yeah.
or
Yeah.
chicken shop date, or like she's going to have to end up on one of these things, and
Mm.
it seems from a
It
different
and it's so
class of superstar to do that, though.
yeah, well, that's it, like, she built up a barrier, or she built walls around her which protected her from sort of having to interact in those sorts of ways in
Mm,
public. I don't know if she did it in private or not, but that's totally changed now. She doesn't control the narrative as much anymore. It's just trying to go viral,
yeah.
which I don't know. It just makes me fucking miserable, to be honest.
Well, it's pretty sad.
Such a
But if she
sad
if she
state
wa-
of
if she
affairs.
wants to do it, and she sees it as her job and a necessity of her job, that's up to her to do it. But for us, having lived through like different periods of time, it just feels desperate in a way, and not desperate
But
on her part. It's a desperate situation for everyone.
but it's an interesting comparison to last week's episode when we were talking about Kylie and about how her she sort of exudes or radiates this feeling of joy in what she does. With Madonna, I don't get that. I don't
No,
get
no,
that, in that clip with Jim Skin. Is that his name?
Jim Skin.
Is that his name?
Yeah, Jim
Just
Skin.
feels like it's wrong, but Jim Skin.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like she's having fun.
No, she looks
Doesn't look like
miserable.
she's enjoying herself.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's funny you say that, because last week there was a clip of Kylie doing a viral dance with some TikTokers, some young women who look about 21, and she's in between them, and they're doing the same dance as her to one of her songs. I can't remember what the song was. And she was, matching them beat for beat and doing this TikTok dance, and she looked so happy and believable. And she is in her late 50s, right?
mm,
And she was dancing with these people who were like more than 30 years younger than her on TikTok, and she just looked happy. It looked so different to the Madonna experience.
mm,
Like, it looked so different. Or there was a video of Danny and Kylie going into a record store in Paris, to help promote the Netflix show. They went record shopping together, and it was filmed, and they both just looked happy and relaxed and just normal. Like, they were just
yeah,
like, "Oh, look, here's this Prince record that you liked when we were kids," and it's nice, it's endearing. Whereas
yeah.
the Madonna stuff isn't endearing. I don't go, "Oh, that's got warm feelings of, like, nurturing reminiscence for me," whereas the Kylie stuff does,
I
you
know
know?
Madonna's never really had that. Mm, I don't know. Her appeal has been very different to Kylie's. She's never really given out that kind of like, positive vibes. Like Madonna's often been framed both by the media, by her fans, by her peers, and by her own output, like films like In Bed with Madonna or Truth or Dare, as being kind of a sort of a critical, hardworking
Yeah,
um, person. But yeah, it just I don't really. It doesn't look like she's enjoying it. If you look at older
no.
footage of Madonna, like the Truth or Dare, In Bed with Madonna footage, she seems to really love what she's doing. Um, but you don't get that sort of experience when you consume the current content that she's putting out. But I hope that she's enjoying it. I hope that she's getting something out of it. But I don't know.
Well, to
As a fan or former fan, it doesn't speak to me.
to pivot a little bit, and, I'm sorry it's not gonna make you feel any happier,
Great.
but I, um I was I was listening to the news agents, which is something that we talk a lot about, and they had a guest on called Alan Milburn, who is an ex-Labor MP. And he was talking about this concept called NEET, NEET, which stands for Not in Employment, Education, or Training. And it's it's sort of been spoken a lot about on the news lately that there's a rising number of young people between the ages of 16 and 24 who are not in education, training, or employment. And currently, there's more than 1 million of those young people in the UK who fall outside of that, and they aren't engaged in any sort of regular activity. And first of all, I mean, that's a huge problem, right? That number is growing and that young people are being isolated and separated from society. But I've got a lot of thoughts about politicians and political pundits like the newsagents and the way they talk about young people and what can we do to engage young people more and what we can do to make sure people see pride in working. Before I dive into my tirade about it, how do you feel about the topic in general?
I feel a lot of things. I feel concern for those young people.
Mhm.
Not because I think that we should all be good capitalist worker bees or anything like that, but I can't imagine that not having employment, not being in education, um, would be very fulfilling. I if everyone was at home being creative and there was this like huge renaissance period of art and music and culture and all this creative output happening all over,
Yeah.
on the streets and in pubs and clubs, that would be one thing, but I don't think that's happening at all. I think people are just staring at screens probably. And
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that to some extent as well, but um, that
I I
concerns me.
I have a problem with how a lot of the commentary around this places the blame on young people and their lack of
Mm,
motivation.
right.
And real like
But
I was talking to you about this earlier about how not many people seem to be talking about the lack of jobs available,
mm,
and the jobs that are available don't pay you enough to live a dignified life in
yeah,
places like big cities. And you know, these jobs that young people would gravitate towards, like you think about when you or I were young in that age bracket, 16 to 24, can you name some of the sorts of jobs you did that were sort of entry level jobs?
yeah. I mean, paper round, assistant nurse in a cosmetic surgery clinic. So I would have
Hmm.
to like clean the liposuction instruments and pour out the fat after liposuction
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like, I worked in kitchens. I worked in Woolworths, the department
Hmm.
store. I mean, yeah, all sorts of
I mean, we
things.
we were both in our 20s when we did admin jobs and call center jobs.
Yeah, yeah,
So I've noticed this thing that's happening that a lot of entry level jobs in the UK, and I'm sure around the world, are being eradicated by automation and by
and
people leaning on AI
and
platforms.
leaning on globalization. So
Yeah,
a lot of jobs are being offshored
yeah,
for economic reasons.
yeah. And
Um,
so these sorts of jobs that were entry level jobs for people to learn cognitive skills, admin skills, interpersonal skills, they are disappearing every year in the hundreds of thousands. I mean, I know that sounds like hyperbole and like conspiracy, but if you look at the number of jobs, even anecdotally, if you look in your own area, if you walk into a supermarket and you see where there used to be like a lineup of 15 cashiers working
mm,
the cash registers, there's now one person overseeing um, like all of the self-service points, and
mhm,
then everything else related to that supermarket, like, I don't know, I don't wanna bore everyone by listing all the jobs that happen in a supermarket, but so many of the jobs have disappeared, and now that's just supermarkets. If you
mm,
take, um, like admin jobs where people are being fired because AI is partially replacing the workforce, or like you said, jobs are being offshored to people who are being exploited in other countries for low wages. I mean, I won't mention their name because they don't want me to mention, but you know where Hill works. he he doesn't want me to say the company name, but
oh, right, okay.
you know, like in his office, like 60 people were let go, and that no one else is getting paid more to do the extra work, but
No.
the work is being managed with automation and like AI capabilities and people just working harder. And so we're all paying, and young people are expected to pay more rent, more gas, more electricity, more for our groceries. Billionaires are making more profit by employing less people and using automation. And all of that money is being skimmed off and funneled up to the elites again.
But the other thing, you asked me what my thoughts were. Like the first one was just concern for people in that situation. But secondly, and this may sound a bit sort of, selfish, self-serving, maybe sound a bit fucking Tory, but hopefully regular listeners and viewers will know that I'm far from that. But also, if there are 1 million people between, 16 and 24?
24, yeah.
Not working, not studying, what are they
Yeah.
doing and what are they living on? Like, are they on benefits? Like,
Well, some of them might be on benefits, yeah.
And it's, of course I support a welfare state for people who need it, but it also, you feel so devalued in the work that you do and the taxes that you pay. If that's partly going to support, well, first of all, supporting fucking, war and genocide, but also if it's just supporting this cycle of people not able to find jobs and supporting that lifestyle. I mean, it's not a choice.
No.
I don't think these people are choosing to do this.
No.
Like you say, there's a lack of work. There's a lack of jobs.
Let me read you some of these examples of why not just young people, but any people are struggling to find work because of automation replacement. So in retail, if you go even past the self-checkout situation, automatic stock management, electronic shelf labels, self-scanning apps, or automated distribution centers, online fulfillment centers, okay? That's more than like cashiers or what do you call them, clerks or,
sales assistants.
Right. And then look at customer service. A lot of companies are using AI chatbots, automated web chat, voice assistants, self-service customer portals, also offshoring customer service. Administration work, data entry, scheduling, invoice processing, form checking, document generation is all being done by AI.
And I wouldn't mind. I mean, we've talked about AI and everything on the podcast before. I wouldn't mind so much the uptake of AI and the use of it by corporations if there was a clear government strategy to transition people away from traditional sort of relationships with work and employment and move towards a society where there was universal basic income.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah.
But there is no plan like that from the government.
No.
So it's like we're sort of peering over the edge into the abyss.
Yes.
And AI is, who was it? I don't know where I heard this. It might have been on the news agents. I haven't listened to that episode that you talked about, but maybe it was on another episode. Or no, actually, I think it was on another podcast where they were saying that AI is akin to the invention of the wheel, to the Industrial Revolution, in terms of how much of an effect it's going to have on people across all strata of society. And the government, I don't think any government really around the world has developed a strong, clear approach.
Yeah.
And
my main grievance isn't with the AI per se. You know what I mean? Like things change, technologies expand, but it's with how my grievance is with how the people who are in control of that and who are generating the money and then keeping it for themselves and impoverishing the main amount of people on the planet, like, populations, that's where my grievance lies. That it's not rewarding us. We're getting punished even more because of it.
But also, even if there was universal basic income, whatever level that was set at, I don't know what would happen to society. So, okay, just imagine tomorrow. It's not going to happen, but just imagine tomorrow the government said, okay, starting next year, everyone's going to receive a universal basic income of, I don't know, £30,000.
Yeah.
And we're going to automate all these things so that we've got all this free time. But then what do they think people are going to do with that free time? I think humans have evolved as a species, as a biological creature. We've evolved to have to feel driven to work towards things. And obviously, you go back several hundred years, it would have been, farming. It would have been more closely related to real, true what's the word?
Sustenance?
Survival, sustenance, subsistence, working to actually make sure that we had maybe one decent meal a day or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, of course, with the Industrial Revolution and all the various things that have happened over the last few hundred years, we now go to work, and that's our sort of reward-based system of working towards a goal and feeling rewarded and validated and blah blah blah. What would a universal basic income do? Like,
well, before we can even get to that, like all those time periods you were just talking about, they weren't liberation for workers. People just found ways to exploit people within different constraints or confines. So if factories and were, assembly lines were made and they needed less workers, people just got fired and not, you know what I mean? Like it just changes how much money industry can hoard and the elites can hoard. All through history, as soon as people started industrializing, capitalism and industrialization have attached themselves to each other and have stripped away resources from people, but keep us trodden down to a point where we have to keep scratching around in the dirt to pay our way, even because the riches are not being shared with people. The spoils are not being shared. Like, also, you'd think of entry-level jobs in like bank branches and travel agents, ticket officers, all of it's going away, right? So we're talking about like supermarkets, everything. Like when you were a kid and you got out of high school, you could get a job at the local bank. You would learn cognitive skills. You would learn like how to survive. You would learn time management. You would learn interpersonal skills. You think of over 1 million young people not in situations where their brain's being challenged or developed, where their interpersonal skills aren't being challenged or developed. What sort of social cohesion problems is this going to lead to?
And as a slight tangent, spatial awareness skills as well. I am so shocked by people's complete lack of spatial awareness these days, walking down the street, crossing roads, looking at screens. And it's just, it's really, really fucking mind boggling. But yeah, I think I find it terrifying that we're just rushing head first into a future that without a plan, there is no government or there is no societal agreement on what we're actually working towards or moving towards at breakneck speed. And
the sick,
I
was going to say the sick irony of it is people are complaining about young people not having jobs, but even the job of finding people jobs is being automated and handed over to AI. Like CVs are screened automatically by programs. There used to be such a huge industry around helping put people in employment, like job centers or job agencies, and all of that is being automated and handed over to AI. So in this twisted irony that people are complaining about young people not wanting to work, even the jobs to find people jobs are being taken away. So
it's really depressing, and I really don't hold out much much hope for the future of humanity. We do need to wrap up, unfortunately.
Okay.
Before we do, I just want to say this episode's coming out, I think, is it the 2nd of June? Something like that.
Yeah.
So this coming Saturday, I will be hosting a queer open mic at the Saatchi Gallery in London. So it's just off Sloane Square. And I'm teaming up with a queer theatre company called Enlight Insight. And I'll be hosting a little queer open mic. It's just 2 hours long, or an hour and 45 minutes, actually. and it's a small venue, but do come along if you can. It's free entry. I'll be performing with my friend Lauren and with my friend Jonathan, and there'll be some other fantastic performances as well. So come along. You can find details on my Instagram at Josh and the Jumpstarts. That's me out.
Okay, and I'm going to Japan. So when you watch this, I'll be in Japan, and then I'll be in Tokyo, and then I'll be in Brisbane, Australia after that. So watch out for my social media, FatGayVegan or fatgayvegan.com, to see some reviews of the food and places that I go to. And also you can buy tickets for the Vegan Beer Fest at veganbeerfest.co.uk, happening in London on Saturday, September the 19th.
With a vegan Kylie impersonator. Tribute, not impersonator, tribute. Okay. Like and comment and subscribe wherever you're listening to or watching this episode. And we'll be back in your feeds soon from Japan and, maybe I'll be in London or Spain. I don't know.
Okay.
In the meantime, I can do some awkward Madonna dancing.
And take care and be. I hope before next time we see you that your job doesn't get replaced by automation.
All right. Maybe this podcast will, though. Okay, folks, take care.
Betty Luck chance would be a fine thing.
Bring it on. Take care.
Bye. Bye.